Hello, in this tutorial we are going to make a game like Stardew Valley. So, how to start? First we are going to start Unity, then we are going to dive directly with the game. Now, to make the movement, we are going to go to find our character first. So I have this character sheet. For example, I want to find a character that I want. From here, for example, for example, this will be our guy. Character number 11. So now what we are going to do is first we need these walk animations. You see over there, this is walk down, this is walk left, right and up. Now I'm going to choose all of these. All of these are multiple. It's already defined in here that it's multiple, and it's going to slice it by clicking slice, automatic slice, like this. Save it. Now I got the walk up. Now similar to the walk right, slice. Okay, save, left, save, and down, slice, save. Now we've got the walk up, left, right and down. Do we have an idle animation? Let's check. No. Okay, no issues. We can just put one of these as idle. So we will start. Now we will take this guy over here, put him over here. Now we need to zoom the camera a little bit, so we are going to choose the main camera, choose the size to be smaller to zoom the camera. So for example, I want it 2.4 or 5, 2.5. Okay, save. Now we are going to call this our idle art. Now we are going to create a prefab, a parent, create empty parent first. So we will call it idle or character or player character. Okay. Now here is the first art. It's the character art inside of it. And yeah, now let's make our character move. Currently, when we hit play, he doesn't move, whatever you click. So to make him move, first thing we are going to go to the input setting, input system actions. I'm going to put it in a folder, input system, here, and delete this one, it's not needed. Okay. By the way, I'm using 2x3 layout in case you want to have the same layout as me, and I'm using Unity 6. Okay. Now our player character over here, he has idle art. Okay, now we are going to create a new folder for prefabs, and we are going to drag our player character to the prefabs folder. Okay, let's call this one just art, because later on we are going to move the character so that we know what we are going to do with it. We are going to change the sprite later on, and I'm going to apply to the prefab and save. So currently this is our prefab, which contain player character as empty transform and the art of the character under it. Now let's make our player move in all directions. Now to do this, first we are going to define the input system over here. We are going to generate C# class apply first, just so we can access it via script, and also double click it. You can see that we have the move via WASD over there. And the value of movement is value of vector2. So let's go ahead and make the script. So we're going to create new folder, call it scripts. Inside of scripts, we're going to create a mono behavior script, which we will call character movement. Okay. Inside of character movement, we will create another script inside scripts, mono behavior script, player controller. So what's the difference between character mover and player controller? So character mover will basically move any character in the given direction, but the controller is supposed to be the player to take the input actions, to map the input actions with the player movement. Okay, so we're going to go to the player character from here, the prefab, attach these two to it. Now get back, save. Now, double click the player controller to open in Visual Studio. Now, we are going to create our player controller over here. To start, we are going to define some variables. So we are going to start with serialize field, float, move, speed, which is 5. Then serialize field, float, what do we need else? Movement speed, movement direction, which is going to be an direction or a vector2 direction, heading direction, let's call it, to know which face is currently facing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We are defaulting it to 0. Now we are going to go with awake function, and we are going to get a reference for the character mover movement, char movement, we're going to call it, which is going to be null at first. Then on awake, we're going to get component of character movement. Now you're going to see in a while why we're doing this. And then going to update, we are going to take the controller also. So player input, or what's it called? Input system actions. Yes, we are going to call it player input, which is going to be null also at first. Then on enable, we're going to enable the controller. Player input is going to be new input. Okay, and on disable, we are going to set the player input to equals, or going to deactivate it by saying disable. And here player input dot enable after creating an instance of it. So this is basically getting the input action system, enabling it, on enable of the game object, and on disable we're going to disable it. Now in the update, we're going to simply get the movement vector. So vector2 movement vector gonna equal, let's call it movement input, going to equal the player input dot player dot move dot get value, or read value of vector 2, like this. Save it, and we are going to head to the character movement now, and we're gonna require a rigid body, require component type of rigid body 2D. Okay, now this character movement's gonna go with public void move character. This is gonna move the character regardless of uh, whatever it's given. So for example, we're gonna go with vector 2, move character vector 2 by direction. Then we're gonna give it float of speed, and yeah, we're gonna call it move character RB because rigid body. Now on awake, we got to reference this one, rigid body 2D, by giving it a private rigid body 2D RB2D, which is equal to null at first. And RB2D is gonna equal rigid body 2D. Now, time to move it. So move the character in this direction by this speed. So how are we going to do it? By going to rb2d.move or velocity, okay? Linear velocity is gonna equal, we're gonna give it a velocity by the direction multiplied by speed, like this. Yeah. Now we can simply go here and say character movement dot move character rb by the movement input direction, the speed of move speed that defined in the script of the player. Save everything, go back to Unity, start, and let's see how this goes. But first we need to attach a rigid body. Okay, it already attached because we required it. You can see that now we can move the character using the keys, but there is a weird behavior here that he is falling with gravity, as you can see, because rigid bodies by default has gravity. So how to disable this? Close this, go to the prefab. Whenever you see a rigid body here, you're going to go to the gravity scale and put 0. Save it, start the game. Now our character is not falling and he is moving like very good. Yeah.